What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, Mikey Garcia, retired future Hall of Famer. Mikey Garcia weighs in on the highly anticipated July 29th mega undisputed welterweight showdown between two guys that he's very familiar with. One guy he fought, and that's in the professionals, and that's undefeated, unified, 3-belt WBA, WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Errol the Truth Spence Jr., who is 28 wins, no losses, no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout. He is 33 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach, and is a southpaw. Mikey Garcia, he called for a fight with Errol the True Spence Jr. after beating Robert Easter, after beating Adrian the Problem Broner, and being top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world. Mikey Garcia doesn't get enough credit for his career. Now, towards the end of his career, and after that Errol Spence lost, Mikey Garcia simply was not the same guy he once was, once upon a time. At one point in time, Mikey Garcia was viewed as top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world, until his March 2019 showdown with Errol Spence Jr., to which he lost a unanimous decision. He called for that fight repeatedly to fight Errol Spence, and said that he saw something in Errol Spence that he felt like he was going to be victorious, that was going to lead him to be victorious over Errol Spence Jr. Nonetheless, he came up extremely short in that fight, AT&T Dallas Cowboys Stadium, March of 2019. With that said, Mikey Garcia then went on afterwards, to have a few more fights, but didn't look his best. He fought Jesse Vargas, and then he fought Sandor Martin. Then he retired. He lost to Sandor Martin, who was a southpaw as well, and was a slick southpaw. And Mikey Garcia, he just didn't look like himself, didn't look interested, and he lost. He lost a majority decision in favor of Sandor Martin. So he retired with a record of 40 wins, 2 losses, no draws, 30 wins by way of knockout, 4-division world champion, stood at 5'6" with a 68-inch arm reach. With that said, he fought against Errol Spence's opponent, massive opponent, the mega fight, July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. He fought undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO, World Boxing Organization welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound for pound fighter in the world, in Terence Crawford. He fought Terence Crawford, who is 39 wins, no losses, no draw, 30 big wins by way of knockout. He is 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach, extremely long arm. So Mikey Garcia, he faced Terence Crawford in the amateurs, and they split, right? And Mikey Garcia in the pros, when people was calling for Mikey Garcia to face off against Terence Crawford, is Mikey Garcia, he was the unified champion, Mikey Garcia, he had beaten, Robert Easter Jr. in unification bout at 140. He beat Sergey Lipinets, Adrian Broner, Zlachin. Mikey Garcia, from the one point in time, he had a hiatus, right? He fought Juan Carlos Burgos, and he won a unanimous decision. Then he had an issue with Bob Arum, ESPN, and Top Rank. Well, excuse me, Bob Arum and Bob Arum and Top Rank, and he had a 2-year layoff, right, from January 2014 to he didn't come back until July 2016 when he fought Elio Rojas. He won a TKO, 5-round TKO. Then he fought Diri Zlachin. He knocked him out in the 3rd round, brutal knockout. Then he fought Adrian Broner, won a unanimous decision in July 2017. Sergey Lipinets, Robert Easter. Then he moved on to Errol Spence Jr. And if you remember, at that point in time, Errol Spence Jr. and Robert Easter and Adrian Broner was extremely close friends, extreme close friends. So you had Errol Spence, Adrian Broner, Robert Easter, and Gervonta Tank Davis. The 4 of them, if you saw one of them, you saw all 4, right? They were extremely close. And he beat Adrian Broner, then he beat Robert Easter, so he even called out Gervonta Tank Davis at one point in time. So he was trying to run through that whole little team that they had going on, and he bit off more than he can chew, calling out Errol Spence. But with that said, many people was calling for Mikey Garcia to fight Terence Crawford, who at the time was fighting at 135 and 140. And Mikey Garcia, he stated that he didn't like the style of Terence Crawford, right? And so it make for a boring fight because Terence Crawford moves too much, which goes to what Mikey Garcia's decision is based off of who will win this fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, as he stated that Terence Crawford is just slightly more versatile. He has more tools in the toolbox, and he says that he's slightly picking Terence Crawford to be successful and win this fight. That's not shocking because this is truly a 50-50 fight. And you're drawing straws, right? You're pulling hairs to try to figure out who is going to beat who's better at what, right? It's drawing straws, right? It's literally, hairs that separates the two. That's what makes this the biggest fight in boxing in the last 40 years. So with that said, Mikey Garcia, he states that Terence Crawford has more tools in the toolbox, and that he's picking Terence Crawford. He got to go with Terence Crawford. Now Terence Crawford has knocked out 10 of his last opponents. Terence Crawford has knocked out and stopped all of his opponents at welterweight. So Terence Crawford is very versatile. He's known to switch from orthodox to southpaw. He has power in both hands, extremely long arms, but he also has the ability to box you from the outside if he so chooses, right? Errol Spence is more fundamentally sound. He's more flat-footed. There's not a lot of flash and flair that come along with Errol Spence, as he calls himself the big fundamental, like Tim Duncan in the NBA, Hall of Fame, iconic superstar from the NBA, and Tim Duncan, right? So he refers to himself as Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan was seen to be, a very, very, hard hat, lunch pail, 9 to 5, just fundamentally sound, not a lot of flash and flair, just get the job done. And that's what Errol Spence refers himself to as the Tim Duncan of boxing, and I can clearly see that. And he refers to Terence Crawford as Kevin Garnett. And so with that said, nonetheless, this is a mega fight, and you're drawing straws trying to choose a winner. Now, when you look at Terence Crawford, he definitely has more flash and flair. He gets the job done in a completely different manner than Errol Spence does. He does have the ability to box. When you look at his fight with Victor Postal, you look at his fight with Jose Benavidez Jr., right? When those fighters presented size, length, ability to box, and had power, Terence Crawford chose to be a boxer. But he can also be a brawler if he so chooses, and he can also fight in that mid-range area, okay? As he did with two-time welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, retired future Hall of Famer, Showtime Shawn Porter. But because Terence Crawford opens himself up so much, he leaves himself open to be counted. He gets hit a lot, and he's smaller. Then he started at 130, became a champion 135, 140, and 147. So he's naturally the smaller guy. And because Errol Spence is so big, he's a southpaw as well. He's big, he's strong, he has an extremely high work rate, he's fundamentally sound, he's disciplined on defense. That's why most people view Errol Spence as the winner of this fight, because of those intangibles. And most people that view Terence Crawford as the winner is because of his versatility, his long arms, his ability to box, and the power in both hands. The angle in which he uses to deliver his punches is what gives people the idea that Terence Crawford is going to be the victor in this fight. So with that said, when you look at it from that standpoint, it's always those two intangibles that people point to. When people say Terence Crawford is going to win, it's because of the versatility. When people say Errol Spence is going to win, it's because of the size, the work rate, and the fundamentals. So this is going to be extremely interesting. Now, obviously, there's going to be people that say that Mikey Garcia is picking Terence Crawford because he's still salty. He lost to Errol Spence Jr., but he did say slightly favoring Terence Crawford, and he said that Terence Crawford is just more versatile. So with that said, Terence Crawford has all the tools in the toolbox to beat Errol Spence, and Errol Spence has all the tools in the toolbox to beat Terence Boyd Crawford. Hence, that's the reason why this is the biggest fight in 40 years, because you cannot make a guaranteed distinction between the two, right? They're both extremely talented. They're both at the top of their game. They're both top 5 pound for pound, and they're both undefeated and don't show many flaws in their games. Obviously, there's no perfect fighter in the sport of boxing. There's no perfect person in the world. So they both have flaws, but there's no glaring weakness between the two. Just simply, there is none. So with that said, can't wait to see how it unfolds July 29th. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. That's all I got for y'all. I'm gone. Peace.
Hi, my name is Heather Vahid Hardy, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.